Okay, so we are continuing on with our real estate education, and we have been talking about nonprofits and buyers, but now we're going to talk about selling. So I have my real estate partner, Jana Mahoney from KW Big Island here, and also Amber Haley from Real Broker. You might recognize Amber from our monthly real estate shows, and also Jana sits in our monthly TT&Ts and gives the updates on what's happening in Waikoloa and North Hawaii. And I have both of these brilliant women here from both sides of the island talking about is now a good time to sell your home. So let's start off with who wants to go first?
Oh, I will.
Okay, let's have Jana talk to you. And one thing that Jana brings to the table here is that she is a master negotiator, and she also knows how to make sure that whatever works for the seller also works for the buyers. Good person. Let's talk about, is it the market? Good time? Is it just like, what are your thoughts? Go for it.
Okay. So overall, I'm going to say yes. Oh, is that better? Okay. There are people who still need to buy houses in Hawaii. There are people who still need to sell houses in Hawaii. Is that better?
Can you hear
the interest rates have increased.
Talk right close to me. Right next to me. Right close to
okay.
Can you hear yourself?
Making homes stay on the market longer.
Yeah. That's good. There you go. Right.
But prices are still holding. So it's not like you've had a very marked decrease in house prices. What you have seen is an increase of days on market, at least in the Kohala area, which I think is holding pretty constant all over the Kona and on the east side, right?
Right.
So
Next to the thing.
the large increases in the property values that we saw last year have not decreased, but they're not going up at the same rate that they were. So that's the good news. The market hasn't lost any ground. What they did was they kind of, the interest rates have gone up to kind of stop the inflation, and that's worked because it kind of goes with it. I think you talked about that earlier. So you can still shop around and get some deals on mortgage rates. You can still shop around and get some concessions, like people are buying points. So sellers would expect that. I would say if you're going to sell your house, you could expect buyers to ask for that kind of thing, which 1 year ago that was not happening, but I'm seeing it more and more now. And sellers are still listing high, and they're still selling maybe 98, 99% of list instead of 101, 102 like we were last year. And I don't think that real estate prices are going to increase at the same rate that they have been in the last year or so, but they're probably not going to go down anytime soon. So the buyers that are looking for a deal or a crash, they're going to be disappointed because I don't see that happening.
Right.
Okay.
Again, no crash in the market.
No, not here. And people are bringing more cash to put down. So if they have it, then a cash is always the king, right? That's what you always want to see. You want to see a cash deal, and you want to see more cash down. You want to see points buy down. You want to see people. You just expect that if you're going to sell, that's what's going to happen. And this time last year, if you put a house on the market and it was priced at a market rate, you would expect to get like 10 offers in a week, right?
Sometimes more.
Yeah. That's not the case right now. You're not getting multiple offers. So I would say that's the first thing I would change your expectations to how many offers you're going to get now compared to last year. So here, I'll let you do that.
All right, awesome points. Okay, so my name's Amber Haley, if you didn't hear that, and I work primarily in East Hawaii. So I have a lot of experience in that market. But as far as if we're talking, is it a good time to sell in 2023? What we said was yes. But there are a lot of factors when it comes to selling your house. So besides just the market, the biggest factor is going to be what's going on in your personal life. Like, what are your reasons for selling? I mean, some people just need to sell because they're relocating, or they need to sell for financial reasons. Maybe the mortgage has become too much. So those are always reasons that there will be to sell. But as far as the real estate market goes, what we've seen in East Hawaii is pretty similar to West Hawaii. there was such like a drastic increase in prices during the pandemic over a couple years, and now the market has slowed a lot, but we haven't seen a drastic decrease in price yet. So you still are going to probably, you know, if you've owned your home for a while and you live on Big Island, you live in East Hawaii really, or West Hawaii, you probably have a good amount of equity still. So it's not like you're selling when the market's really low if you sell. So it is still a good time to sell. And it's also still a good time to take advantage of low inventory. I mean, you guys, the inventory is low, right? Like, it's still low. So we are in a shifting market. It is kind of a weird time in real estate where, you know, we had this super, super hot seller's market, and most people would say, you know, we're not really in maybe a super, super hot seller's market anymore, but I don't think we're really exactly in a buyer's market yet either. We're kind of in a more even market. So you can still get a good price for your home. Since you talked about the list to sale price, I'll let you guys know for East Hawaii what the latest data shows. List to sale price in the Puna district, which is where honestly most of the real estate trading on the island goes on. That's right now at about almost 92%. So like Jana said before, when the market was really hot, things were selling at over 100% list to sales price. So whatever the house is listed at, you know, a little bit less or a little bit below. So things are selling a little bit below in Puna. We will see what that trend does, but that's where we're at right now. And then in Hilo, it's just over 94%. So that's kind of what we're looking at with data. But again, prices have, home values have gone up so much over the last few years that I really think that you're going to get a good price for your house still. Some considerations that might help you make the decision if you kind of are on the fence and you don't really like need to sell right now necessarily is, are you okay with more days on market? That's probably what you're looking at. That's going to be the biggest difference between this year and last year probably is days on market. In East Hawaii, I know a lot of contractors have built new construction that was like flying off the real estate shelves the last couple years, and now they're just kind of sitting. There's a lot of empty construction. New construction just sitting, a lot of homes just sitting on the market. Days on market in Puna last month was 67 days on market, and Hilo is 50 days on market. And we're kind of seeing longer days on market every month. So just know if you do list your house, you're probably going to be looking at days on market. You probably aren't going to get all those multiple offers that you would have gotten a year ago. One strategy I've seen sellers use that I think they're successful with right now in East Hawaii is pricing correctly the first time.
Yeah.
So,
Yes.
I mean, that's kind of hard, I know, for a lot of sellers to do because they've just maybe watched their friends sell their house at these like crazy prices, and you know, the market was going like this, and you want to price up there still. But the people that are pricing up there still, did I lose the microphone? Testing. Anyway. I can just try and talk loud. The people that are oh, maybe we lost it. Do I need to wait for the microphone? Testing, testing. Testing, testing. It's always fun with a live show.
Talk loud.
Yeah, I can talk loud. So the people that are pricing really high right now, they're the ones that kind of are losing a lot of momentum on their properties because they're the ones that have a lot of days on market. But I have seen other sellers, like in Hilo specifically, and they are pricing correctly. They're not asking for something crazy. They're asking right what it's worth, and they're getting interest and offers right away first week. So if you are somebody who needs to sell right away, price correctly, kind of get ahead of that so your listing doesn't go stale because
Don't catch a falling
yes.
knife. Right, right.
Because extra days on market don't really work in the seller's favor, right, you guys?
Right.
You lose more negotiating power the longer your property sits on the market. And then even just, it's kind of a mental game with buyers too. They're like, what's wrong with this house? It's been on the market for 90 days, you know? So, you know, stale listings aren't great. So if you want to sell quickly, price correctly the first time, I do think it's a good time to sell still. You probably have equity in your house still. Find a good realtor because marketing is really important in 2023. You could have sold anything with a blurry iPhone photo the last couple of years. Marketing really matters right now. So a real estate agent that is going to actively sell your house and not just wait around for the buyers, that's who you want to hire. So, yeah.
Okay. So testing.
Are they back on?
Okay. Well, these microphones go to YouTube.
Okay.
Yeah, we did that. So we see that people who are not pricing their homes correctly, trying to say maybe, they'll get the money they think they're going to get. Then their days on market starts to stretch out, and then buyers think they're desperate.
Yes.
Right? And then
exactly
they come in
Yes.
and they start saying, you know what, now we can lowball you, right?
Yes.
Where if you price it correctly,
Yeah.
then they say, wow, I've been waiting for your house to come on the market for days now, and now it has, and I'm going to come in at that price because I know it's fair.
Yeah.
Because buyers are pretty smart right now,
Yep.
and they're seeing what else is going on around the market, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so they're going to say that's exactly priced correctly.
Yep.
So when sellers don't think that buyers know what's going on, that's not the way it is anymore,
It's
right?
not the way it is anymore. And I'll give you an example. I had some buyers that were looking for a single family home in Hilo, and they actually found one that they liked. It wasn't, perfect. It wasn't everything they were looking for, which, by the way, no house really ever is. But it checked a lot of boxes. It was kind of priced kind of high, though, they felt. But they were like, we've been looking for so long. We're going to put in a full price offer. But they didn't feel great about it. And then another house came on the market within a day of us putting in an offer on that first house. And it was priced correctly. And they went in $20,000 over asking just because they were motivated. They knew it would go fast. It was a better house for them. So the original sellers that they had first put an offer in lost those buyers because they kind of priced high, and they weren't really willing to work a lot with the buyers, and that kind of scared them off when the other house that came on the market, they're like, we're going to do a survey. We're going to tell you that now. We're going to do this. We're going to do that. We priced correctly. My buyers came in with a above asking offer and got the house under contract. So yeah,
There you go.
And I had a listing last week that went on the market, correctly priced. It sold in 0 days, and I had a cash offer. So it is still happening, but it is very important to price right. And I pulled up some days on market in the Kohala area, and it's like 77, 84, 72. This is a huge change from what it was not very long ago.
Right.
And it's 100%, 98.8 the sales price to the original list price. 98, 94, 91.
Where's that?
This is it in the Mauna Kea area. So people are still having a hard time adjusting if they're sellers to the market changing a little bit, and they're still trying to get those last year prices.
The buyers are smarter than that.
They are. So if it's priced right, 0 days for cash. It happens. It still happens.
Right.
Yeah. But you're right. It has to be priced
it
right.
has to be priced right. That's just like the biggest tip I can give you. And I know if I was selling my house too, I'd want to say I want the top dollar. Obviously you do, but this is a strategy to get the actual top dollar that you realistically can get right now.
Right. And the worst thing too is to be chasing down the market.
Yes.
Because we don't know what's going to happen for the rest of the year.
No.
Right? I mean, are you guys seeing a trend that buyers are coming back in the market anytime soon in a way that is going to turn this thing around?
I don't know. I mean, traditionally, the spring and summer market are like a more popular market, so we might just kind of see that just because that's kind of normal for spring and summer. So that's something to think about. I would be thinking about if I was selling my home, I might want to
get it sooner than trying to get in with everybody else.
Get in for the spring and summer buyers. I know a lot of my buyers that's when they're planning on buying, spring and summer.
Yeah. We have a bunch of people coming this summer too. Their kids are getting out of school and graduating, and they're thinking about moving to Hawaii Island because their kids are out. So they're looking in the summer. You're right. So the best place to try and put your house is in a market that doesn't have a lot of inventory, and that is right now.
We don't have a lot of inventory, so get it out there. I will say one reason why you maybe wouldn't want to sell, just to go on the flip end, is if you very recently bought or refinanced, because there are costs that come with, as we all know, trading real estate. That would maybe be, one reason to consider not selling this year if you had just bought. However, that being said, I have a lot of clients who I have sold houses to that a year later, not even the traditional 2 years that people kind of say, wait 2 years, that they've sold and they've made pretty good profit on their equity and covered their closing costs and all of that. So it really just depends. 1031 exchange,
I like this.
It'd be interesting because we have some people here from YouTube people. We have some people in the audience actually who are thinking about trying to sell their house or not. If you guys are basically saying if you've been here long enough, like 1-2 years, 3 years. I mean,
You've
but what
got
happens?
equity.
What some people think though is, why would I leave my house that either is paid off or I got a 2% refi on, right?
Yeah.
And now I have to jump out into the open market where there's no inventory.
Yeah.
And now the mortgage rates are at 6%. So it almost takes, like, you have to figure out the finances of deciding if you're going to make that happen. And some people
Yeah.
like have to leave. They've got deaths in the family. They got whatever.
Or
But
they had a big house and they want a smaller house, or vice versa. I mean, there's a lot of, there's
Yeah.
a lot of reasons.
so,
why
okay,
you
so
wanna
like with
sell.
downsizing, right?
Right.
So, but let's say like right now, let's say we're talking about West Hawaii. There's not that many condos for sale right now.
Right.
Right. And the market's still hot for condos.
Right.
But the market's not so hot for big houses that, are like in the 1.4 and above, right? And so, I don't know.
It's still pretty hot.
Is it still pretty hot,
If
1.4? Okay.
again, if you're priced right, you're going to sell the house, because
Yeah.
there are people out there who
in all price ranges.
in all price ranges. Yeah.
Okay.
Condos, a lot of times up in the Kohala Coast, those are investment properties,
Right.
And they are just not available. There's
Yeah.
hardly any up there, so those are pretty hot. Whenever they come on the market, they don't last long because there's not very many, and a lot of people want that condo so that they can come and stay here for 2 weeks and then rent it out the rest of the
Right,
week.
right.
That's a pretty popular thing to do there.
Yeah. And then with the investment aspect of life, do you see, I mean, between both of you guys, are you seeing investors selling though right now? It seems like it's a time to hold on, right?
There's not a lot of people selling right now.
Yeah.
Again, the condo market is really tight up in
Really
Kohala.
tight. Yeah.
Because they have very high occupancy rates. They're doing really well. It's turned out as a great investment, and so they're not going to let go.
They're not
of
going
it,
to go. Which is the reason why we have no inventory.
Right. Yeah.
So, do you guys have questions from the audience in terms of what you'd like to ask these guys?
Questions from the audience.
Questions from the audience.
Anybody want to sell their home?
Yeah.
We'll list it for you.
Yeah, there you go. And also, one of the things about selling your home is obviously getting a good realtor who knows the market, who can do a really good cost market analysis so that they can price it correctly.
Yeah.
Because we saw another one where somebody, I don't know if this was a great idea if they did this or not, but they were listing a investment piece of property, and it was such a deal that they opened up the house at 10 o'clock in the morning, and there was already like 17 or 18 people there. That's when you know you've priced it too low, and it ended up going for $100,000 over asking because it wasn't priced correctly. And it's interesting to see what happens if they had put that on the market, the price correctly, because maybe we've gone over. But working with somebody who knows how to do it correctly is very important, and that's the reason why also, if I can do another plug for my people here, that my partnerships with Jana and Amber, we have very, very happy people that we've worked with because their houses get sold. They are negotiated well. And also getting a house ready to sell too, my friends, is hard because there's stuff that you have to do sometimes months in advance, right? So can we talk a little bit about, you can't just decide tomorrow you're going to sell your house sometimes, right? There's like stuff that has to be done, right?
Yeah, you can get some preliminary title work done. You want to have very good photographers. You want to so Julie can testify when you come into a house and you see like 500 personal pictures. We can say, okay, some of those need to come down. We just give some staging advice, things like that, and we know people. So, like, we know people who can do painting or who can
cleaning, repairs, different things.
Clean the windows. Yeah. So that's the other thing. We have our little our Excel spreadsheet of all of our contacts, and we've been getting some cards here at this event as well.
Yeah, it's been great. It's been great. So we can help connect.
Okay, so get this. So before in the market, literally, you could basically leave all of your stuff all over the house, open the house up, and it'd sell in 2 days.
Yeah,
right?
with a blurry iPhone photo.
They're right, the
Or
blurry iPhones.
No photo.
So now sellers have to actually put some effort into it, and so they're listing agents, obviously.
Yeah.
So would you suggest somebody actually get a pre-inspection report ahead of time so that they know what the problems are in the house, so that they can try and get some of those fixed before it goes on the open market?
So I think it depends. I can walk in a house and see if somebody has maintained their house and what kind of shape it's in, and you're probably not going to find very much. But if you walk in and you're like, oh, I might smell mold here, or I might, if you suspect that there might be a problem, or if in the seller's disclosure statement has some kind of problem, then it's probably a good idea to head that off at the pass, so that when you do your disclosure statement, it's like, hey, we had this problem, but we fixed it.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because the buyers are going to beat you up if you have a roof that's 10 years past due and termite problems, unless you're selling it as is and you say, you know what, that's it, it's as is, right?
Well, yeah, you can do as is, but I think it's always better to know ahead of time what you're
going to get,
what you're going to have. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, in the case of a roof, you can actually go in and get some roof quotes, and you can say, hey, this is going to cost you this much money to do this kind of roof, and be prepared, because that's going to come up.
Yeah.
It's just good.
Right.
I will say I do notice, just in general, that more sellers will do the pre-market home inspection in West Hawaii than I run into in East Hawaii.
Oh.
I run into it a lot more over on this side of the island. Just throwing that out there.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
if I was selling in West Hawaii, I would probably do it on my home, just because I know that more other sellers will, and so I don't know.
And forearmed is forewarned.
Yeah. It's just nice to know everything you're going to run into. I like to get a prelim the day I get a listing. I run there's a website that I can go on, and I can find out where your septic tank is on the property, or your cesspool.
And a prelim is a preliminary title report for all of the non-industry people.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah,
So-
jargon.
Yeah, it's just nice to have every single piece of information available from day one. So if anybody has, we just know if there's any kind of questions.
Right, because you don't want to be in the middle of trying to buy a house and find there's cloud on title.
Right. Yeah.
Right, and
yeah.
figuring all that stuff out. And sometimes with sellers, they don't realize that they've got easement problems, or something might have happened where, like, let's say that sometimes mechanics liens, or something happened where it's going to hold up the entire sale.
They can
And if
delay
you
the
don't-
escrow,
right, and then-
or make it fall out because people.
And you might have started thinking, okay, I'm going to sell my house for the next 45 days and I'm going to move on to something, and now all of a sudden you're not.
Yeah.
Well, okay, that's a great point, because one time I had a listing, and the guy was in his 80s, never had any children, and there was a lien on his property for child support non-payment. So clearly it was wrong, but we caught it very early in the listing process. So by the time we actually got an offer, it was fixed. And so that's kind of nice, because even though it was wrong, and the buyers were like, they maybe would have been a little nervous about seeing something show up on the title.
Yeah.
They never knew about it because it was fixed before they ever came into the picture.
Yeah.
Now, do you guys think that doing all of that pre-listing work now, because this is what I think, is more valuable than it probably was the last couple years? Because the last couple years, people were just so desperate to buy that there weren't a lot of properties falling out of escrow, because people didn't want to lose the house that they finally got under contract.
With this problem.
But now, if you have a house days, you're more days on market than you would have been a year ago, probably. And maybe you didn't do all of your homework before you listed it, and then all of this stuff comes up during the inspection period. You might spook the buyers. They'd be more likely to pull out, right? And then you're going back on market, and you have even more days on market. So yeah, these are really good tips that you guys are getting.
Oh heavens! Last
your
year there
homework
was
ahead of
no
time.
time to do anything like that.
Yeah.
Like, you would list it, the next day you would have offers.
Yeah.
So now we have a little more time to get that kind of stuff done.
Last year they might have been like, oh, the roof's leaking, this and that. I don't care, I'll buy it.
Yeah.
But now,
You
people
pay your
care.
taxes with proceeds.
People care
Yeah.
a little
Yeah.
more now. So yeah, it's good.
So, thinking about that too, it might cost you more money now to list a house if you have not done the maintenance on the house.
Yeah.
Where, like, before, it didn't matter, but I've noticed, especially in some of these older homes, that people have been in these homes for 10, 20, 30 years, they haven't done the maintenance. And so getting the house, the landscape, and getting it so it shows well in photos, I think it's more important now than it ever has been. So having an opportunity to say, okay, how do I get this thing so it shows the best it's going to show? And you work with a realtor who usually has names of different kinds of landscapers, different kinds of handyman, the whole thing is going to be very important in this market.
Whip it into shape.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Whip it in.
Get it in good shape. There's a lot of little things you can do to make your house look better, improve the curb appeal.
Yeah.
Can't emphasize enough how important I believe photography, videography,
Absolutely.
those 360 tours are in 2023. I mean, you get one chance to make a first impression, and most first impressions in real estate right now are done online.
Yep.
What people see, that first photo, that first video, that first thing. So get a real estate agent that's going to invest in marketing your house.
Still doing sight unseens even now.
Oh wow.
So
Yeah.
a sight unseen is you definitely have to have nice videography and nice pictures for that.
Right. And, because sight unseen's still happening, looking for opportunities that people have drone shots over houses, or if they include a look around,
view. Yeah.
the whole thing. Again, it's marketing the house more so than it's ever been done before. So
Marketing's important.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Any other tips for sellers?
Well, I think my final note would just be, if you're waiting for a crash, that's not going to happen. If you're a buyer, if you're a seller, I don't think prices are going to go down, but they're not going to go up at the same price that they were last time. That's just kind of my prognostication for next year. I think that's kind of where we are right now.
Yeah. And then,
But they are staying on the market longer, but
Yeah.
they are selling still.
Yeah. Well, it's like I always kind of say this, that somebody's going to break here, either the buyers or the sellers. And right now it's a stalemate.
Yeah.
Like I don't want to pay more than I think is going to, because the buyers are convinced we're in a softening market.
Right.
And the sellers are convinced that there's not enough inventory, and if buyers want the house bad enough, they'll pay for it. So
Yes,
we're in this
exactly.
like stalemate. So somebody is going to blink. And we don't know which side that's going to be yet.
And
So-
again, that depends on your circumstances.
That's kind of my bottom line. It really
Right.
depends.
Yeah.
Yes, but it depends. What are your circumstances?
Yeah.
What are your reasons? And if you need a real estate agent to just strategize with you, that's what we're here to do as well.
Yes.
Exactly.
Talk over the different scenarios, see what makes sense for you.
Yep.
Exactly.
It's all a personal experience, and everyone has their own stories. So.
Right. Yeah.
So with that, we will say goodbye on this segment, and we'll have these ladies back to talk about the true experience of buying a home in Hawaii here. So stay tuned, and thank you, ladies, very much for giving us your
Aloha.
opinion. Aloha.